Loaded teas. They're almost too good to drink, and they're definitely too good to be true. The maker behind these colorful concoctions, Herbalife, has long since been accused of being a pyramid scheme, developing products with a scientist who got their degree from a diploma mill and using false, tragic backstories to sell their products. Herbalife's cafes are practically built to hurt the distributors that open one, and in this episode, we visited one ourselves to buy and maybe spill some tea of our own. Hello everyone, and welcome to another Multi-Level Mondays. I'm the Illuminaughtii, and today we're talking about Herbalife again. Although I do recommend checking out my older episodes on Herbalife for context, you won't need them to understand what we discussed today. I knew I needed to take yet another look at this godforsaken company when I started to see some articles discussing something called their loaded teas. These drinks have gotten increasingly popular in the past few years, and it's not too hard to see why. They really do look Instagram-worthy. They're colorful, vibrant, and supposedly good for you. What's not to love? Nutrition clubs post about selling them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, claiming that they're low in calories and sugar and loaded with vitamins. They've added some caffeine powder for an energy boost, but even tea has caffeine in it, right? Well, these drinks can have about 175 to 200 milligrams of caffeine in them, or about twice the amount of an average cup of coffee. While this is still less than a Bang energy drink at 300 milligrams, it's still a ton to have all at once. Plus, the people behind these colorful creations are Herbalife representatives, and Herbalife, as you'll recall, hasn't really been consistent about prioritizing people's health and well-being with their products. And in my opinion, it almost feels like an afterthought with them. The people selling these loaded teas often market them as clean energy too, and their storefronts will usually have Nutrition Club or something similar in the name. Needless to say, Herbalife got on my radar once again. Then, once I saw a post entitled Ukraine Energy Bomb Loaded Tea marketed by one of these Herbalife distributors, they made the top of my list, and for all the wrong reasons. These particular sellers aren't just tone deaf, but using tragedies to peddle their questionable so-called health drinks. This shop claims they'll donate a portion of the proceeds from a drink to fund the needs of Ukrainian children, but the way in which they went about this leaves a disgusting taste in my mouth. Plus, Herbalife refuses to move their business from Russia as of writing this, so this comes across as extremely disingenuous and hypocritical too. So let's take a look at Herbalife again. Do the success of these brick-and-mortar shops mean that they're trying to be a legitimate business, or are they just finding new ways to scam people? Let's get into it. Let's start with Herbalife itself, as it's been a while since we've talked about them. Mark Hughes, an experienced MLM salesman himself, founded Herbalife in 1980. He was surrounded by quite a few shady characters at that time. For example, an early Herbalife seller, Larry Stephen Huff, was involved in Holiday Magic, at one point labeled the father of all pyramid schemes. Holiday Magic had its own episode before too. Now, this MLM was charged in 1973 with defrauding $250 million from its distributors. Larry also worked with Lawrence Thompson, who also happened to be fined $1.5 million in 1973 for violating California's pyramid scheme laws with his MLM cleaning company, Bestline Products. According to court documents against Bestline, multiple distributors, including Larry Huff, made untrue or misleading statements about how much people within the downline would actually be able to earn. Bestline guaranteed success for those joining through the marketing program, and their idea of an endless chain of distributors was unlawful. Any financial gains depended on recruitment, not sales, making this a pretty cut-and-dry pyramid scheme. Both Larry and Lawrence seemed to be trusted by Hughes despite their checkered past in pyramid schemes. However, aside from his fellow businessmen, Mark also needed a medical professional on board. After all, Herbalife sells supplements and health products, so it's important that they be vetted and proven. Unfortunately, the person Hughes chose as his developer was Richard Marconi, a former manufacturer of Slender Now products, which Hughes once sold. Marconi also later admitted that his doctorate was literally just a mail-in order certificate, but he still continued manufacturing Herbalife all the same. But hey, at least Hughes has good intentions. His mother passed away when he was 18 years old from an overdose of diet pills, and Hughes desperately wanted to ensure that it never happened again to anyone else. So you might be asking yourself, what did he do to ensure that? Well, he told people that his products would enable people to lose weight safely. But this isn't true either. Mark Hughes' mother died from her addiction to painkillers, not diet pills. This doesn't make her death any less tragic or upsetting for her family, of course, but it means that Hughes himself used her story, twisted it, and ultimately profited because of it. And this is the story of how Herbalife began. Mark Hughes used his mother's death as fuel for the story of why he wanted to create better diet pills, then went into business with 2 notorious distributors and a fake doctor. So we're off to a great start, aren't we? Hughes began marketing Herbalife on cable television and was an early purveyor of infomercials. Forbes said they had old-style revival meetings, almost like evangelical sermons, to spread the word about Herbalife. Old Herbalife meetings really do come across that way, as Mark promotes Herbalife as more than just an opportunity, but a way of life. He opens one of these 1984 meetings by talking about his mother, all while neglecting to mention painkillers entirely and describing the various measures people go through to lose weight. He talks about gastric bypass surgery and even says some people have their stomachs stapled or mouths wired shut to do so. And apparently the whole wired shut thing, that was a bizarre and dangerous trend in the 80s for whatever fucking reason. Now, it's true that many dieting methods may not be safe, but Mark presents Herbalife as the answer. He claims that Herbalife can get herbs into your system and cleanse it, touching on that only for a moment before getting into the business opportunity. Now, I can, to some extent, understand why Mark would not explain why the products work here. Explaining all the science behind the products might bore his audience, and then the point of his conference is clearly to hype people up and just get them to become a distributor. But the problem here is that there isn't scientific evidence to back Herbalife in the first place. Herbalife once had a website solely dedicated to the science behind their products named herbalifescience.com. This domain now directs you back to their website on a page where they discuss their quality products. However, when the website did exist, it linked to several various studies. One claimed to evaluate 100 overweight people for over a year to discover if those taking protein would lose more weight than those that didn't. Although weight loss between the groups was about the same, Herbalife claims that those taking protein lost more body fat, and studies showed meal replacement shakes are effective. But the point is almost entirely moot. The actual study itself lasted only 12 weeks. I don't know if researchers at Herbalife confused weeks versus months, but this is a critical mistake to make when looking at health studies. Vox wrote their own article about this in 2014, back when the links were live, and quoted Dr. Yanni Friedhoff, an obesity specialist, as stating, "Any diet study that runs for less than a year or 2 is worthless. I can put someone on a short-term marshmallow diet and they'll lose weight if they consume fewer calories." These studies need to look at long-term health and weight loss, which Herbalife, when it claims to be a health company, should recognize. Plus, this study apparently didn't even compare Herbalife products to other forms or dieting or even other diet products. It only compared Herbalife products to each other. True experiments typically need some form of control group, so again, calling this evidence feels flimsy at best. In fact, there seems to be more concrete, conclusive evidence about Herbalife potentially causing health issues than being superior weight loss products. In 2004, 4 causes of acute hepatitis associated with Herbalife intake led to a Ministry of Health investigation in all Israeli hospitals. Plus, 12 more patients that had consumed Herbalife had acute idiopathic liver injury. Correlation does not equal causation, we've said that plenty of times before. But Herbalife has quite a history of being associated with liver injuries. A 2018 publication about drug-induced liver injuries said that there have been, quote, "many reports of acute, clinically apparent liver injury in persons taking Herbalife products, but the link to HDS, herbal and dietary supplement products, has often been controversial. The specific ingredients in the various Herbalife products might cause injured liver have not been identified. Given this, we can't definitively say with 100% certainty that Herbalife causes liver injury, though their consistent association with it should raise some red flags and concern. However, as we've discussed in our other Herbalife episodes, some of their products have raised more than just concern for government agencies. The Food and Drug Administration, California Attorney General's Office, and the State Department of Health all went after Herbalife in the mid-80s over their false health claims and marketing schemes. Hughes infamously defended his pills and nutrition products before the senators, stating, "If they're such experts, then why are they fat?" Herbalife even attempted to sue the Food and Drug Administration afterwards for waging a corrupt trial by publicity against them, though that suit was later withdrawn. Herbalife has also been criticized for carrying products that rely on laxatives and caffeine. I'd hardly call being attached to your toilet and relying on caffeine just to stay awake a healthy long-term diet, but Herbalife has been criticized for this from their earliest marketing years and vehemently defended themselves. Vague labeling, pushy marketing, Hughes' background with MLMs, all of it has been a problem for Herbalife, but not enough to shut them down. In one of the worst instances, they were also linked to 134 serious illnesses or deaths from ephedra supplements in the late 90s and into the turn of the millennia. One 28-year-old woman claims she was perfectly healthy, but after taking Herbalife ephedra supplements and drinking Herbalife tea, she went into cardiac arrest during a sports game and had to be resuscitated 4 times. Herbalife said they had no knowledge of the case and even denied being contacted by the FDA, stating they had an exemplary safety record despite the concerns and lawsuits since their founding. Now, I could talk about Herbalife products, lawsuits, and accusations of being a pyramid scheme for ages, but it's time we get to how this relates to their shady shops and loaded teas. When did this all begin? Herbalife has had the Latino community at the heart of its company for decades. They're 60% of their sales force. Many of the Latinas that do sign up end up with garages full of products that they can't sell. The Herbalife president in 2013, Des Walsh, has argued that this is simply because the Latino community in the United States saw the success of clubs in Mexico and sought to replicate it. Though I disagree with him about Herbalife and its predatory nature, Des Walsh is right about one thing. The nutrition clubs did start in Mexico. The very first Herbalife Nutrition Club was founded in 2004. The shop in Mexico just sold sample cups of basic Herbalife shakes, and the owners, Enrique Valera and Garciela Mier, presumably used it as an opportunity to sign people up beneath them. Herbalife says that after a couple opened their shop, the idea exploded in popularity. Now, nutrition clubs can charge attendance fees on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, enjoy teas and group workouts, and participate in weight loss challenges. But the way they describe these clubs is a bit troubling to say the least. Their website reads, "The clubs can help alleviate the food deserts in urban neighborhoods that lack fresh, healthy, and affordable food. Instead of supermarkets and grocery stores, these low-income communities very often have an abundance of fast food restaurants and convenience stores, but not enough health clubs." And in my opinion, this is a false compassion for the purpose of profit. How are they really going to call supplement shakes a way to alleviate food deserts? How is this helping anyone feed a hungry family? Herbalife is acting like, oh, well, we're providing a service to a community, when these distributors and shop owners are just desperate to get said community into their downline. Herbalife isn't some health grocery store. They make diet supplement shakes, let's be clear. Not to mention, it's not as if these shakes are as healthy as Herbalife claims, so what healthy food desert are they actually making up for? Often, owners are putting chocolate drizzles, flavoring, food coloring, and cookies on their drinks. So sure, these protein shakes might be low in calories, sugar, and fat on their own, but owners are basically adding in their own sugar to make them more palpable. Plus, replacing a meal with a shake doesn't necessarily work in the long term either. Kassan, who holds a bachelor's degree in kinesiology from the University of Boulder, Colorado, and a master's degree in human nutrition from Colorado State University, told the Greeley Tribune that relying on supplements can have awful metabolic consequences. A registered dietitian, Cindy Dallow, added that, quote, "It's not sexy to eat more fruits and vegetables or to tell people to do that. It's not exciting. It's not cutting-edge research, and all this stuff they claim they have, they'd rather sell a bottle of something." And so, Herbalife and their sexier way to diet took off, to the point where there are 75,000 stores worldwide, according to Herbalife. They say this more than triples the amount of Starbucks, but a quick Google search says Starbucks has just over 30,000 stores. I'm not sure why Herbalife can't do basic math, but it's over double, not triple. Distributors at these stores created a sort of Weight Watchers meeting atmosphere, according to Fortune magazine. The admission fee for these gym centers is typically just $5 or so, which is certainly cheaper than a gym membership, and since it's daily, it allows for more flexibility. You just come in when you want and pay $5. The reason it's cheap, critics argue, is because they're trying to earn you as a distributor. The money isn't in the shakes, but in the downline. Already, there's something wrong with the picture. Yes, these nutrition clubs sell unproven Herbalife products, and the owners may be using customers as a way to grow a downline. But there's also the fact that these owners aren't necessarily qualified to give any health advice whatsoever. It's certainly possible that a registered dietitian could join Herbalife, though I don't think that's a dietitian I'd trust based on what we've heard so far. However, you don't need to be a dietitian or have any experience whatsoever to open up an Herbalife shop, give health advice, lead their community gym classes, and sell these shakes. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who have opened up non-Herbalife nutrition shops without qualifications too, and it's unethical for anyone to make health recommendations under the guise of being a professional. Bella Jones, a registered nurse interviewed for the Greeley Tribune, explained that these clubs are also trying to come across as homegrown businesses when they're just part of the larger Herbalife brand. It's getting frustrating because we're in northern Colorado, which is very protective of small and local businesses, she said. All of these nutrition clubs, they don't come up and say they're from Herbalife. It's all based in secrecy. They make themselves sound like they too are local small businesses. And I believe, in my opinion, that this is intentional because these distributors, be it Herbalife or any other MLM for that matter, consistently refer to themselves as independent businesses. Distributors are led to believe that they own their own shop when they don't. They don't own the products that they're selling, they have no real say into what goes into them. These shops sort of make them a franchise owner to some extent, but even then, Herbalife doesn't work like a typical franchise, and in my opinion, they set up their distributors for failure. So in essence, you've got these Herbalife shops that present themselves as locally owned, healthy nutrition clubs. Now that would be bad enough, but the rules Herbalife has for these club owners make it so much worse. The Greeley Tribune states that distributors are allowed to sell Herbalife products to customers, yet the clubs themselves are not meant to be retail stores, so which is it exactly? Herbalife tries to navigate these murky waters by apparently not allowing clubs to actually post their prices anywhere, otherwise they'd be a food establishment and have to adhere to certain licenses and regulations. Instead, that membership fee covers the cost of a free drink. Health club owners have admitted this, with one of them saying that his shops have no pricing, though customers are welcome to ask about the policy. The whole paying for a membership daily idea sounds like a unique selling point, an affordable way to work out, but it's seemingly just used like a legal loophole. Personally, if I'm buying food or drink from any business, I'd hope they'd be licensed and inspected, but Herbalife clubs aren't always operating by the same rules. While the nutrition club need business licenses, not all Herbalife stores need health inspections. Weld County Food Program Coordinator Nick Trouter wrote to the Greeley Tribune and said, "Nutrition clubs serve ice and generally store and serve time and temperature control for safety foods like milk. Some of these nutrition clubs also prepare waffles or other baked goods made on site, all of which require a retail food license." He added that some clubs may not be subject to a food inspection since they were just serving samples, which is not a licensable activity. When the clubs move to full service, it's the club that's supposed to notify county officials. If the club owner doesn't tell anyone, then officials will effectively remain in the dark until someone complains or they find out through advertising. But since Herbalife literally tells its distributors not to advertise commercially on the TV and radio or through social media, these kinds of advertisements could be harder to come by. Now, aside from the way they pretend to be a small business, the lack of qualifications to give nutritional advice, and the questionable attitude around licenses, there are still some aspects to these clubs that we really need to address. As I mentioned, these shops are kind of like franchises, but with quite a few notable differences. To understand how the business is run, I found an article from an eater that interviews the former nutrition club owners who detail their experiences. Allow me to introduce the Stockstills. Brittany visited a nutrition club in Springfield, Missouri back in 2020 without knowing what it was. However, the woman at the club was really friendly to her and she was, quote, instantly charmed. This woman became her upline, and Brittany decided to open her own club in January 2021 with her husband Brandon. Though Herbalife's rules means she couldn't technically be open to the public, only members, this doesn't really work in practice. There's nothing really stopping people from just going in and buying a drink, as we'll revisit in just a little. Brittany's upline trained her on how to keep the shop compliant, and she completed a training module, but Herbalife themselves never told Brittany how to run her business. Despite minimal guidance, Brittany's shop seemed successful. The Stockstills left their corporate jobs to run it, which after a few short months proved to be a horrible idea. They made 6 figures but drained their bank account, spending $20,000 on Herbalife products each month. Club owners get a 25% discount on products, more if you have a downline, hence why people are incentivized to sign up others. But even with discounts, the products were extremely expensive. There were more complications still. In addition, the Stockstills and other club owners were not allowed to advertise their affiliation with Herbalife. They have to limit the number of drinks someone can have, and they have to record every single customer in a ledger, and they can't advertise to attract walk-in customers. Should they break any of these rules, Herbalife can refuse to sell to them completely. And all of this sure sounds like it would make running their club more difficult, not being able to market to customers the way you'd want. But there's another aspect that makes them even more challenging: the competition. According to Brittany, Herbalife doesn't just have geographic territory clauses in the way that other franchises do. So, in other words, maybe you see McDonald's and Burger King competing for customers, but seeing 2 McDonald's right next to each other would be pointless and likely hurt both parties. Herbalife doesn't care, though. Stockstill says that because of this, the competition between shops could get brutal, and she even suspected nearby shops of emailing Herbalife and claiming that Brittany was breaking advertising rules. Each time, she says she got an email from the company about how long they had to remedy the mistake before their distributorship would be placed on hold, and sent a warning of future fines or a termination of the distributorship. The only way Herbalife is going to find out if someone reports your stores, and typically how that happens, is through competitive stores, Stockstill says. But they're not auditing anything. The stores are growing way too quick for that. In essence, it sounds like you could get fired for just having competition. Herbalife doesn't care about their distributors with these kinds of rules in place. They are just determined to drain aspiring business owners dry. That $100K might as well have gone straight into their pockets given how much the Stockstills spent on the products. They don't want to see people succeed, and if they did, they'd stop setting club owners up for failure with bullshit incentives like discounts that don't make much difference on their expensive, overpriced products. As much as I detest the way business owners prey on people, I also feel bad for them in this case. They're both victims and predators in my opinion, which is a very interesting dynamic. Eventually, the stock still started to do their own research into why people didn't like Herbalife and listen to the friends who refused to support their business. They also talked to former distributors and decided to turn their nutrition club into an Herbalife free club instead. They rebranded as the Downtown Health Bar, decreasing their drink costs in half and labor costs by 2/3. Unfortunately, they also received some massive backlash from their Herbalife friends who began ignoring them completely. I genuinely wish the stock still's the best, and I'm grateful that they opened up about their experience. Maybe their story can impact other Herbalife Club sellers. But they're certainly not alone, as other former sellers have said that they too were unhappy with all the advertising requirements. One former seller, Danielle McCalla, says she wasn't just iced out when she quit, but she, quote, became a toxic person who gave up on her dream. My name almost became a curse word to people who used to be on my team. Danielle adds that even though Herbalife clubs opened at rapid rates, they also close at rapid rates too because the people opening them often don't understand how to run a business in the first place. Now that we understand how dysfunctional these nutrition clubs can be, let's finally take a look at what they're selling. And before we get into talking about what these loaded teas are, and of course get the actual recon footage of what happened when I went into one of these smoothie shops, let's take a quick moment to thank today's sponsors. And today's episode is of course sponsored by HelloFresh, where you can get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. HelloFresh makes home cooking fun, easy, and affordable, and that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. And with HelloFresh, it's more than just convenience because not only do the ingredients come pre-portioned so you're not overbuying or wasting food, but it's easier than ever to get filling meals on the table in a snap with options like family-friendly or quick and easy recipes. I love their one-pan meals, one skillet meals, one whatever meals because it's easy cleanup. Everything goes into that one whatever it is, and voila, food is ready in like 30 minutes or less. And you can customize your favorite dishes with their new Hello Custom offerings by swapping out different proteins, upgrading to a more luxe experience, or even adding a protein to a veggie meal. So go to hellofresh.com/MLM16 and use code MLM16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. Again, that's hellofresh.com/MLM16 and use code MLM16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. And while you're getting ready for all of those ingredients on the table, maybe you're like me, as some of you have recently learned, and I love garlic, but I was also recently an idiot and forgot to get garlic for a recipe I was cooking. Well, no worries, because even when life is chaotic, DoorDash is there to help. It doesn't matter if you're just gonna get food from one of your favorite places to eat, or maybe something from the grocery store, like garlic, very quickly. DoorDash can get that for you in under an hour. And of course, they've got all the restaurants you love. They'll grab groceries and other essentials for you. So if you want late night ice cream, you got it. Did you forget a key ingredient for dinner like me? They'll grab it. Are you just stocking up on general stuff for the week? Well, DoorDash can do that too. And they're quick and easy to use through the app. They have tons of options available, and you're really not going to be disappointed. So for a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code MLM. That's 25% off up to a $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code MLM. Don't forget that's code MLM for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change and terms apply. One of the earliest articles I found discussing the potential dangers of loaded teas was from 2019. In it, Medium writer Shannon Ashley says that the owners of these clubs are decidedly cryptic about their shakes, and if you call or message a club to see an ingredient list, you are told to see it when you stop by. The loaded teas, she claims, are even more cryptic, and they claim to have a ton of vitamins in them. They're sugar-free, and the Facebook Nutrition Clubs neglect to really define what a loaded tea is. They just claim it's plant-based, caffeine for energy, ginseng and guarana for hunger control and mental focus. The trouble is, caffeine is still caffeine. Whether it comes from a plant or not, that doesn't really mean much. Natural and synthetic caffeines have the same stimulating effects on the human body, and chemically speaking, they're identical. Therefore, this sort of all-natural greenwashing language seems incredibly uncalled for. Plus, the clubs also used phrases like metabolism booster, clean energy, and thermogenic without any proof behind these promises. Another article in 2020, this time from CNET, also discusses the potential problems of loaded tea. They pointed out that these drinks have about 175 to 200 milligrams of caffeine, whereas an average cup of coffee has 80 to 100 milligrams. And for the record, a cup of actual tea contains around 27 milligrams or so. Therefore, loaded teas are much more energy drink than tea. This feels misleading enough, but the additional caffeine in them actually makes things worse. Both ginseng and guarana can induce stomach aches, trouble sleeping, headaches, and other side effects commonly associated with excess caffeine. Guarana fruit extract itself is high in caffeine, so essentially if you have too much of this, you could be for an extra world of misery and caffeine withdrawal upon drinking it. Registered dietitian Bonnie Top-Dix told CNET that they also have toxic levels of vitamin B3, which can cause skin flushing, increased heart rate, and nausea. Dr. Wendy Bazilian, a sports dietitian and certified personal trainer, agreed with this and explains, "It's the dose that's the poison. Too much of something that may have some positive effect like caffeine in normal levels in a real food may become dangerous at high levels, in concentrated forms, or when combined with other ingredients." Literally the only health benefit Bazilian seemed to find was that they can hydrate you since they're presumably made with water. And that's about it. Otherwise, given the sheer amount of caffeine you're taking in all at once, plus potentially toxic levels of vitamin B3, you may be better off drinking water. With so many foods, we can easily tell how beneficial it might be since they come with ingredient lists or nutrition labels. However, not only can these clubs be vague about what they're selling you, but every single one is totally different. Even if some have these dangerously high vitamin levels, others may not. Either way, the drinks really don't seem as healthy or as clean as they claim. There's absolutely no evidence they burn fat, and since this is a supplement brand, the FDA isn't stepping in either. Even without the Herbalife name attached, these drinks would have me skeptical about their supposed health benefits and lack of ingredient list. So the final question to ask today is, what happens if you go into one?
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
I've never been here before, so I had a friend that came here and she said you guys had really good smoothies. So
Good. Okay.
so I'm sorry. Is it just smoothies or what? What do you guys have? I see tea, lit tea.
Yeah. So I can explain it really.
Yeah. Sorry.
No worries, you're good. You like it? Alrighty. So basically, we have combos with tea and a shake.
Okay.
So the teas are going to be right next to it. Those burn body fat, they give energy. They have aloe in them, digestive system. We have shakes as well. Those are just meal replacements. They have 17 to 24 grams of protein, vitamins, nutrients, and all. Protein coffee, workout drinks, and just extras, okay?
Oh,
So
cool.
it's quite a bit.
Yeah, and then can I just ask out of curiosity,
Yeah.
do you guys? So I have a nut allergy. So
what was
I have a nut allergy.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
what am I I guess I'll do maybe a lit tea. What sorry, I must have missed maybe the smoothies or whatever.
No.
What makes them lit or whatever? What's different?
No
Sorry.
worries. So the teas, those are gonna burn body fat to give energy.
Okay.
And so that's essentially just the name that we call them is lit teas. Just because they do give you energy and stuff.
Okay.
They don't have any nuts in them, anything
cool,
like
cool.
that.
So I can drink tea and that's
Yes,
cool. Okay. And then
we have our flavors up there, but if you wanted to see what's kind of in them, right there, hung right next to the March menu, you can see everything that's inside.
okay. No, that's fine. If you say they don't have nuts, that's cool. What's your favorite tea?
I really like the Malibu Sunset. That one's strawberry and coconut. Cucumber bunny, Mexican lollipops, really popular.
Okay.
So is the strawberry margarita.
Okay. Let's do, can I do, I guess, a regular size, sorry, the size peach lemonade? Yeah, and then what's, how are these guys made? I don't see any fruit, so I was are they fresh? Are they frozen? What's...
They're protein shakes, so we don't use any fruit. We do have some fruit that we can add to it, but they are considered a meal replacement.
Oh, so even the teas are protein shakes?
The teas not a protein.
Okay, the tea's not protein.
No,
Okay,
it has
so...
aloe vera juice in it, which helps you go through the insulin and helps with bloating. It has a fat burner and it has an energy booster based on vitamins.
Okay.
And the
cool.
shake is the one that has protein. We can add protein to the tea if you wanted to.
Okay.
But the shake is already.
I feel like that wouldn't taste very good.
Well, actually, we have a protein that's peach mango and wild berry, but it's considered a snack, not a priority.
Okay, no, cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, then I'll do a regular peach lemonade. You don't have to put the protein in it or anything. Yeah.
So at first, it's kind of
A lot to take in.
weird to understand
Yeah.
because it's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Perfect.
Okay. Sorry, I'm like.
No worries.
I'd rather you ask and understand
I
it
get
than
really freaked out when I have like a nut allergy and go to a smoothie place. I'm like, I want to be like totally clear that I'm like, I cannot have nut stuff. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So sorry about that.
No worries, it's okay.
All right. Oh.
We'd rather not.
Actually, let me just.
Just remind us every time you come in, okay?
Okay, you've got it.
For that, because sometimes some shades will just have the pecans or the.
Yeah.
But we don't have to add them in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, as long as you guys are okay with that, I was like, I've definitely had like other smoothie places in town that they're just like, hey, we can't do that because we like mix everything, and I was like, shoot. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm always like, I just don't want to. I don't want any of us. I don't want to get hurt, and I don't want you guys to like be like, oh no, we hurt this person or whatever. So yeah.
So how did you find out?
Yeah, I have a friend just down on campus. She was taking a class, and she just said she stopped by here because her other friends went next door to the wings place.
Yeah, okay.
And so she was like, well, I didn't want wings. So she's like, I came in. And she said you guys had really good tea. So I was like, oh, I love tea. So yeah, that was kind of, I know, not like a really fun answer or anything, unfortunately.
Yeah. I was just curious.
Yeah.
And our teas are cold, but we
Okay.
do have hot teas.
Oh,
If you're
okay.
ever interested in hot teas.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Try this before you head out.
Yeah, you got it.
Sure that.
Just one of these
Whichever
guys. Okay. Oh, how fun.
Is it good?
That tastes great. Yeah. Thank you so much. And then how many? Not calories. You said that they were lit. How many energy? Sorry, I'm losing words. Caffeine, yes. Because I just already had a Red Bull today, so I'm like, I'm good, right?
85. No,
It's just like 80.
Here, add it.
Sorry.
No worries.
Sorry, I'm like a nosy Nora. I'm so sorry.
No worries. I always want to have that like written somewhere, and I forget.
No, you're good.
You're not the only one who asked.
Okay, cool. I'm so sorry.
Sorry. No being sorry here. It's better to ask than to not ask.
Yeah, no. Thank you. I appreciate it. A fiesta night. How cool.
Where's the
It says it on the.
This one has 75 milligrams.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So that's just kind of like a little more than
75
coffee.
Plus this one, which is it's approximately 85 milligrams per serving. So it's a little bit, I think. Is that right? This.
Yeah, 85 plus.
This.
Which one was that? Yeah.
So it's actually quite a bit. It's going to be
Oh.
160 grams.
Wow, in this little thing?
Yeah.
How cool. Okay, I'm gonna have to be able to slip it slow then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, no,
because-
that's awesome.
Did you already? When did you have your Red Bull?
Probably around like 10 a.m. I think it should be
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be okay. I just want to make sure because I don't, like my boyfriend chugs like bangs or whatever, like the 300 milligram thing. So I'm like,
Well, this
I
is a
don't-
way healthier version of an energy drink.
okay.
Because we don't use any refined sugar. It's
Cool.
flavored with stevia.
No, awesome.
And it's all vitamins in there.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And thanks for all the information. I'm sorry. I'm so
Yeah,
like,
no worries.
hey, can I
You're
answer
good.
this? Whatever.
No,
Thank you
just
guys so much. Awesome. Well, thank you. Have a great day. Thanks.
Anyway, though, this is obviously a first-hand account only. I'm happy I was able to get you some footage. If you've ever been to an Herbalife Nutrition Club, I would absolutely be interested in hearing if you've had similar experiences to myself. Otherwise, I highly recommend we all stay away from these as much as possible and hopefully let this weird fad die out. Like, seriously, let it die. But with all of that being said, that's where we're going to end today's episode of Multi-Level Mondays. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something new. And if you did, make sure you're liking, following, and subscribing and stay up to date on all the latest episodes. Thank you so much for spending some of your Mondays here with me. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!